Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to discuss about Edward Said and his thought. In this slide, let's get a little insight about Edward Said. He was a post-colonial scholar who was born in 1st November 1935. He was a cultural critic based on Orientalism. In his book, Beginnings, Intention and Method, which was published in 1975, Edward Said sought to draw a distinction between the mythical or divine attribution associated with the notion of origin in classical thought, which carries with it implications of order, chronology, and hierarchy, and the human and secular realm of beginning, a word which has associations with modernity and implies an overturning of classical hierarchy and its replacement with heterogeneous and disparate forms. Orientalism as Discourse. Edward Said is best known for his work on Orientalism, in which he describes Orientalism as a system of representation of the East or Orient, and b. a repertoire of image and attitudes and ways of seeing consisting of recurrent stereotypes within Orientalist writing in the West. But there are also contradictions in that representations East both attractive and repulsive. In other words, in Orientalism, Edward Said tried to systematize the distinction of the Orientalist with the Westerns, or in other words, how the East origin people were different from the West and how the Western culture people used to have a stereotype ideology toward the East origin or the Oriental people. Some characteristics of Orientalism: an irreconcilable difference between East and West. The myth of the clash of civilization after the end of Cold War. An unchanging Orient, static, free from history, primitive and barbaric, living tableau of queerness, voluptuous women, snake charmers, world of ease and languor, wine and songs, but also despotism, perversion, danger, women locked up in harems. Lack of sense of law, irrational, unchanging essence. The Arab's mind, the Islamic worldview, the opposite modern. In this slide, let's try to analyze this point in simple terms. First of all, the first point, an irreconcilable difference between the East and the West. It means that how the people of the East and the West have different mindset, and that because they have different mindset, it is quite opposite to one another, because of which history has been the evidence that there has been clashes of civilization. For the Westerners, the Orient are quite static, they are free from history and still primitive and barbaric. Some of the Westerners still believe that they are the people of the low categories, where the women are very voluptuous and they have dangers, perversion in their society, and it is not suitable for a civilized situation or civilized society like the West world. At the same time, they believe that there is a sense of law and irrationality, where the Western civilization having a sense of law and empiricism and rationality in their social structure, whereas in the Orientalism there is complete dominance of irrationality. And last, unchanging essence. The Arabs, the Islamic worldview are quite conservative till today, and it is quite opposite of modernism, which is actually followed by the West world society. Orientalism as a discourse has pointed out a question in everyone's mind, that is Orientalism racist, or whether Edward Said was racist. Well, Before jumping into certain conclusion, it is very necessary to consider few points that might give us some insight to have better understanding of Orientalism. First of all, historical, cultural, and racial generalization. It means that Orientalism gives us a detailed idea about the historical, cultural, and racial generalization between the two worlds. Next, it emphasized on past, on the classical period, and not only the living character. That means Orientalism focused on the history of the past of the classical period and not just the doings or the achievements of a living character like emperor or king. However, it denies Orient in any history or its contribution to the history. Even it has denied its presence in any historical incident, except as a fall. But crucially, the power of representation is asymmetrical. However, with these 4 points, it is not necessary to say that Orientalism is racist or not. It's upon the interpretation of the researcher or the scholar to how to understand Orientalism and in what way we want to interpret the messages or the information which we get from Orientalism to the society. Now, let's recall what we have learned so far through this practice set. Like question number 1, who gave the concept Orientalism? Here, the correct answer is option B, Edward Said. Question number 2, Edward Said's work Beginning, Invention and Methods was published in the year. The correct answer is option C, 1975. Question number 3, in the discourse of Orientalism, what is power? In this discourse, the correct answer is option D, knowledge. According to Edward Said, knowledge is power. With this, I would like to conclude my video. Thank you for watching it.